shoot the messenger as I fade that away. Welcome. Hi, everybody. Listening at home or watching online live via the Twitch platform. My name is AJ. This is
Kendra. Nice to see you.
Of course, there are other ways to catch us. You might be listening on iTunes. Also,
Spotify.
Yes.
And YouTube is an option.
YouTube's an option. This is where you jump in for me. YouTube, and then is that it?
That is most of our streaming
That's good.
services.
That's good. I like the video version. We have a lot of media that we like to share with you. So take a look at it. Check it out. Let me see. Let's check the background today. Look at that. I got the Galaxy as the desktop background. Today's a little different today. Doing a Friday show, Friday night. We have some stuff to do tomorrow, and that's the beautiful thing about owning your own show. We can do it when we want.
Absolutely.
But nonetheless, it's going to be a great show. Kendra, catch them up. What have you done in a week?
Well, we had Valentine's Day this week.
Yeah, it takes pretty much. Yeah. So what did we do? We thought we were going to go out, go to a movie, stayed in.
Watch Jurassic Park.
It was
way
awesome.
better.
Yeah, it was great, and I'll take it. Okay, so we have the ticker below us here. 7 topics today, starting with the main one. What's first on the agenda here, Kendra?
Today we have Payless Shoes.
Payless Shoes. Okay, so went to Payless Shoe Store as a kid a lot, and I know you had to. My mom went the extra effort, tried to get me the Nikes because she never had those. But going out of business, 2,300 stores closing. It's finally happening. The brick and mortar stores of yesteryear are all saying farewell. Sears went. What's
they
another
filed for bankruptcy along with Toys R Us.
Yeah,
filed
Toys
for
R
bankruptcy
Us
this year.
Yes, that was a big one we covered. So Toys R Us is gone as well. And now Payless Shoe Store. We had one in our hometown growing up. Just like Shoe Carnival or Shoe Pavilion or Shoe Center or whatever shoe place Payless was the original discount shoe store. I went there often for work shoes. No better place to get work shoes than Payless Shoe Store. So are you sad about this, Kendra? Payless Shoe Store going out of business?
I'm not sad. I'm a little surprised they're still around, honestly.
Really?
I mean, I don't mean to be callous about that or anything like that. It's just about the fact that it's been around for so long. We're seeing a lot of these stores that are the single item stores kind of go by the wayside. And so it was only a matter of time with Payless Shoes, unless they diversify or, I guess they do have an online store, but it just wasn't getting the type of traction that things like Zappos or other shoe websites
Well, you
were
can
doing.
just order online now, and there's some cheaper places around, but mostly online ordering is the way to go. Payless, going the wayside. I think, what am I trying to say here? I lost my thought. Anyway.
Well, I understand, you decided as an adult that it was a pretty good, did you find good work shoes, they were comfortable well as
non-slip. Okay, what I wanted to say was this is their second time filing for bankruptcy. They filed, I think in 2018, the article said. They filed April of 2017, 18 months ago was their first. Okay, so other stores that have closed: Gap, Gymboree, Things Remembered, Crazy 8 stores. Of course, you said Toys R Us, Sears, Bonton? Sears and Bonton?
I've never heard of Bonton.
And I guess that parent of Elder Beerman. Elder Beerman, of course. I miss Babbage's and Games, etc., or whatever the heck that was, software, etc. Even the mall. We were going to do a story about the Grand Traverse Mall, which we live by, and just kind of count. And maybe we still should do this. Just count how many stores in the mall are vacant. And it's a fairly popular mall.
It's a nice one too. I mean, it's a nice quality mall, but it just, as time has gone on, there's less need for these brick and mortar stores. So malls have had the hit. But Michigan, I feel like, because we have the snow, people will always want a covered plaza to be able to walk around in. And I think that's kind of the niche that malls can fill.
It is. Look at the top of this page here. It says, support local journalism. Subscribe today for 99 cents. You can support us. Go to our Patreon and, give us $5. That would really help us out.
Yeah, just every
and we'll shout you out because you know what? If you give us $5, you'll be the first person to actually donate to the show, and we'll remember you for always. You
will be the first.
How do you like the traction?
True internet first.
Let's get real for a minute. How do you like the traction the show's getting? I mean, we had over 50 views on one of the shows when we first let the public know about it.
Yeah,
that was nice.
I'm happy that we've got a few listeners. It's nice to see that our audience is growing, and I feel optimistic about it. I want to engage our audience more. So if you have movie suggestions for a bad movie review, or you have have something that you want us to talk about,
Yeah.
you know, please engage with us because you know we want to engage with you.
She's real. She's looking for movies to watch. All right. Topic number 2. Let's move on. It's a weird flex, and that's what the kids say when you're talking about when you're bragging. Now they say weird flex, but okay. Weird flex, but okay. That's what the kids are doing. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me. That's why we named it this way. That's what the kids. But you want to see the truest weird flex of all. Check this out right here, Kendra. Now I know you love anything medieval times or anything. What do they call those fairs?
Renaissance festivals.
The Renaissance fairs that you go to. But check this out. Now you picture armor. What do you do when you put on the armor? Boom, robotic. You can't move, clunky. You know, knocking into things.
Need help putting it on. Need help taking it off. You can't run.
They're finding out that more and more like that is wrong. Now with these higher class. Now this is obviously a higher class. You can see some of the markings here on this armor. But watch the flex on this foot here. You know, when you put the armor on, the full plate armor, you expect not to be able to move. But they're finding out that's wrong. You have these separate little joints that kind of work as like, I don't know, scales.
Yeah,
I don't need that.
separate kind of, they move independently of each other. You can still, I mean, if you're looking for LARP armor, you can find armor that moves, has those joints in it that moves a little bit
Now you've
friendlier.
seen these in action. I mean, you've gotten up and close and personal with armor, right?
Yeah, I have. I mean,
okay,
I've seen...
so what have you seen? Like sweaty guys in armor. I heard it's hot. Right.
It's very, very hot. And I mean, the guys that I've seen, you know, of course, every jousting tournament touts themselves as like the toughest and the actual jousters and how it's actually dangerous. You know, but I've seen some of these guys and you'll hear the hits of the armor. Boom. And it's a thud and it's very obvious that they feel an echo in their body. It's like if you had a helmet on and somebody jostled you. You know, so it can be hot.
It's so cool.
You know, they're
so
heavy.
Cool.
It does look really cool.
You know, this is the only way I would go to a Renaissance festival with you in full plate armor. I mean, it's the only way you can go. I mean, these guys are doing cartwheels and rolling around like, look, see, no big deal.
Well, sure, right now, like walk 100 miles and then do that. You know, like they're leaving out the fact that when this type of armor was using, you were typically marching to the battle, which was miles and miles of marching.
I love the sound.
The upperclassmen were the only people that had this amount and this type of armor. You know, a person who is a bowman.
Look at that slit he can see through.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see much.
Oh, he just took a sword. That's nice. See, okay, so I mean, it does work. And you can see it's pretty movable with all those little joints in there. I like it, and I was surprised. I thought we'd share that. And
for it to be truly effective, a knight's armor has to allow the freedom of movement to match the swiftness of a lesser armored opponent on the battlefield.
True that, yo. Anyway, armor. It's a weird flex, but okay. And I thought I'd share that today. So, yeah, and you guys you've seen these guys fight. And these LARP things, are they really swinging at each other?
Well, I mean, it depends on the LARP, the type of event you're going to. Like a weekend Renaissance festival that might have jousters as performers, they will say they are trained performers, and they're typically hitting each other with the jouster that they have the real horses and everything like that. If you go to a large-scale LARP, like Beacoline in Canada.
Oh, name drop.
Yeah. If you go to
flex.
a large-scale LARP like that, you're using something called a boffer to hit with, so they're not using actual jousting gears. It's a softer weapon.
You buffer me.
Or like the arrows have these little, they look like beanbags on the end. So when you're throwing the arrows, you know, it buffs. It doesn't hit.
Oh, it buffs.
Yeah.
It buffed me.
Yes.
Do they all speak in English accents? Is that a requirement? It seems like they just come out. If you're in armor, you'd be like, "Woo."
Kind of. It comes when you get into the feel of everything, and it's oh my lady, and you start to speak in an accent. But at Beacoline, I guess it's actually French Canada that it takes place in. So all the events take place in French.
Comment ça va?
So it's still a full experience for English speakers, but it's all French speaking.
Look at that. This is real armor. This is at the Met. And, you know, there's a real ancient armor here that they're showing. Yes, part of that. You can see the cuffs even. Everything is so flexible. Way more movement than you have previously thought. Spurs on the end there as well. Anyway, I thought these were just... It blew me mind, really. It blew me mind that how flexible the armor was. I've had some sweaters that are less flexible than this, you know? Thanks, Grandma. I appreciate that. Moving on, Kendra, I think it's about time for bad movie review. All right, Kendra's bad movie review. She watches a bad movie every single week, Miss Kendra, and this week the movie of choice is what?
The perfect movie for product placement
Is
Chopping Mall.
What do you mean by product placement?
Well,
It's a mall.
Exactly, it's a mall. It provides all the opportunity that you could want to see products. I don't have any proof that there was like any sponsorship or anything. It was just very, as they're seeing the mall, it was a lot of brand names.
1978.
Nope, this one was 1960 or 1986. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Dawn of the Dead came out in 1978 because I was curious which mall horror film came first.
Right.
Dawn of the Dead came out in 78, but Chopping Mall came out in 86, almost 10 years later. So this movie takes place in a mall, obviously. So it's the Park Plaza Mall. This is an imaginary mall that doesn't actually exist.
No, it does exist. It's in California. I've been to this mall, Kendra. This is like the Galleria or like the one, the Grove or something like that.
Yes, it was mostly shot at the Sherman Oaks Galleria in California.
Yes, it looks familiar. Now, I've been to these malls. You know, I used to live out there.
Yes, I do know you.
I've talked about it once or twice. But okay, so it takes place then 1986 zombie.
Well, Chopping Mall. This is not Zombie Mall.
Oh, it's not a zombie. I'm sorry.
No.
Dawn of the Dead. It got me confused.
Yes.
Thank you.
Those are both mall movies. But anyway.
ADHD's a real thing.
Chopping Mall, 1986. Park Plaza just installed a new state-of-the-art security system. It includes heavy door exits, so like, and it shuts from midnight until 6 a.m.
Does it make that noise?
It does.
Okay.
And then also, they got some Dalek-looking robots to...
Is that it? Was that it right there? Was that it?
It was.
Okay.
That they call themselves protectors, but they're not really protectors.
Do they talk?
They do.
Protectors.
They do talk. Do some talking.
Sorry.
And they kind of have a little bit of personality when the robots are trying to like figure something out. You can usually see their little heads like look and move and look at each other, which is kind of interesting. So basically what happens is there's a group of 8 kids, I would say teenagers to early 20s, and they're hanging out in a furniture store partying like you do as you're a young adult person.
Right.
And basically they find out that the robots have gone haywire and they're stuck in the mall because they stayed past midnight, the door's shut, and they're locked in until 6 a.m.
No kidding.
And they quickly find out that the robots have short-circuited because they see it explode one of their friends' heads, which was probably one of the best scenes in the movie, to be quite honest.
240p is what I'm getting on this preview here. It's not very good quality. This is the head you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's got a little head that moves and swivels.
Okay.
So, like, I guess, so they say that the robots were never meant to hurt anybody at the beginning. You kind of hear the security officer talk about, the fact that they don't kill anybody. They just neutralize them. And they talk about the fact that their eyes have lasers to remove debris. And nothing could ever possibly go wrong. But very quickly, the lightning strikes the mall, and then that short circuits the robots, which results on this killing spree, as it were. Now, the negatives about this movie, I would say that it really had too many of the kids. I would have liked to see 6 at the beginning instead of 8, because then we lost that first 2, then we would have been left with 4. I just felt like the 6 was a lot, because we didn't get a whole lot of character development or character out of any of those characters. Glorious VHS.
Yeah, presented in glorious VHS. I thought that was hilarious.
So, too many kids, in my opinion. The laser graphics are so very, very bad. When the lasers are shooting at the kids, it's really hard to tell where they're supposed to be hitting because it was just so blurry. So I didn't feel like the lasers were very, very good. It was hard to tell. Also, I felt like they kind of missed an opportunity to be funny. One of my initial thoughts about this movie was that they took themselves too seriously as a slasher movie. But after I watched it the second time, I did realize they do include several jokes. It is kind of funny. It's just the jokes don't always land. But they missed an opportunity, in my opinion.
Did they go over your head? The jokes went over your head?
They didn't go over my head. They just weren't that great. I mean, they weren't bad. Like, one of the jokes was, how are we going to get in? Don't worry, I have a key. And then the next scene is him throwing a chair through the glass doors. So the jokes were there. But so at one point, the girls...
I just gotta say, I love the 80s hair right here.
Oh,
Boom.
it's all 80s. She actually, the one you're looking at on screen right now, she was full 80s in that, like, she had high-waisted jeans with like the crew net socks and everything. She was all 80s girl. So she's actually the girl that I was about to talk about. At one point, they are in a hardware store and she grabs a road flare, and the sign that says, don't be caught in a dangerous situation, grab a road flare. And so I thought, like, my gosh, that would have been great if the mall had seen like signs all over it that touted like our brand new security, safer than ever, or something like that. That would have been a really great way to add an extra level of comedy while these kids are running away from the Killbots. As it was initially called, Killbots was the movie's the release title. Yeah, they actually rebranded it as Chopping Mall because apparently audiences didn't like Killbots that much.
The janitors, they were there overnight too?
Well,
I think that guy was in Gremlins right there. He's the dad in Gremlins.
The janitor was finishing up a little bit of work, and then the robot comes up, and this is right after the robots have short-circuited. So the robot asks for his ID because theoretically the robots are supposed to be able to check so that way they don't hurt people that are not intruders or criminals. But because it's short-circuited, that doesn't work. And yep, exactly. So a couple of negative things that I didn't like about it that kind of are spoilery-ish is the fact that they kind of played into a couple of cliches. So besides all like the random people that you don't have a connection to, like the scientists and the janitors, the first real main characters to die are the quote-unquote sluts, which is very cliche. It's kind of the jerk guy.
I think you're labeling people
girl.
here.
Well, okay, maybe.
The promiscuous women?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a lot nicer.
Sure.
Okay.
And then, of course, it was the virgin that lasted the longest. She survived. So that was kind of cliche-y, which I did not quite like. And the other thing I didn't like...
Which one's the slut here? The one in this one?
No, the slut's already dead in the scene.
Which one's the mechanic? You were talking about
the one on the right, the girl in the flannel
She looks
shirt.
pretty cool.
Yeah, she was a nice character, which is why I was disappointed that they didn't play that character up more. Like I said, if they had cut it down to 16s instead of the 8, we could have been able to see these characters develop a little bit more. So like in the beginning scenes, her and her husband are trying to restart their truck and he can't get it to start and she gets it to start on the first try. And he says, always the first try. So I thought for sure that she was going to like hack the robots or something later on. And that did not happen. She died too early. So as far as the last thing that I was disappointed about is I never got to see the mall staff, like the mall upper echelon, deal with the blowback of having killer robots monitoring their thing. Like the
aftermath?
Exactly. The movie ended and then we didn't get to see like... I would have liked to see some kind of PR scandal at the end, right, or them addressing the questions or something like that. Would have been funny.
Of course you wanted the PR scandal, Kendra. Okay, all right.
What I enjoyed about this film, great head explosion. Just the head explosion was one of my favorite moments when I was watching this, because it was just...
I wish I could see it. Like, I heard it was the second best movie head explosion of all time.
That is what the actors...
Scanners would be number one. I think Scanners would say. The actors said that?
Yeah, that's what the actors said, is they believe that they have the second best.
So why did you pick this movie, by the way?
Well, it was on YouTube, to be quite honest. And then also, Chopping Mall does appear on some lists as like one of the best B horror movies that you could watch. It has a little bit of a cult following because it has robots in it. It's not a standard slasher film, but it is very 80s in the fashion and the mall. You know, the mall was a big deal in the 80s. So it kind of plays on those sci-fi themes with the robots, and then people like the horror, and then it's kind of funny. You get to see tits in this a lot. At least twice. So
No, we're no longer a kids show. That's right.
no,
okay.
we're not.
Tits.
I never plan on us being a.
Can we say it together? 1, 2, 3. Tits. Okay.
So
So there. How many times?
you see full.
And whose?
You see full.
1980s. Which one?
Hers.
The one in front.
Yep.
Okay,
And then
it's
you,
blonde.
the other girls you don't. She's already dead.
Was this a B movie when it came out? So was this like made for just to see boobs, like one of those classic, like campy, like Porky's, where you see boobs and the.
I kind of feel like it was.
Okay.
The people talk about this director as somebody who's known for including lots of women in his films, or not the director, the producer, excuse me. The producer is known for putting lots of women in his films, usually with nudity. That's kind of what he likes in his films. So it kind of followed that theme. Now, besides the head explosion, I also enjoyed the pet store scene. So there was a scene where the actress, the Virgin, I will call her,
Yeah.
has survived, and she's running away, and she runs into a pet store, and she climbs underneath a shelf, and she puts the dog food in front of her, and the robot follows her in, but it keeps knocking over all of the glass, like, things that have the animals in, and so tarantulas and snakes are crawling all over the floor, and you see the tarantulas crawling up her bodies and the snake all over her feet. And I found out apparently scorpions were also supposed to be in that scene, but the director, like, he was putting those things on himself as well as like a show of solidarity, like, I'm going to put these things on you, I'll allow the things to be put on me. And he took one look at the scorpions and was like, no, never mind. We're not going to put those in the scene.
That's great. That's great. It's kind of like I slap you, you slap me. Well, we could talk about this all day, but we got to wrap it up here. Let's get a Starship Trooper rating, Kendra. Is there anything else you want to add before I cut you off?
Two things.
Okay.
Points for adding robots. I mean, this movie really, it got points for the head explosion, points for adding the robots. It was a little bit unique in that way. And then the theme I would give this film, because all horror movies have a theme, I would say that this movie's theme is that there's a fine line between security and oppression. So that's my theme. My overall score.
All right, Kendra. Now we rate the movie on a scale of 0 to 5 Starship Trooper rating. We've never had a 5 Starship Trooper rating. It sounds like you quite enjoyed this movie. Let's begin. Kendra, do we have one
Johnny Rico.
Do we have a Johnny Rico? Do we have one Starship Trooper?
We have one Starship Trooper, Johnny Rico. Thank you for joining us.
There we go. Yes, Kendra. Chopping Mall, 1986. Do we have a... What's her name? Come on.
Carmen Ibanez.
I don't have it in front of me. You're gonna have to. Do we have a Carmen Ibanez?
Thank you, Carmen Ibanez, for joining us. Yes, thank you. Two Starship Troopers.
Exciting. These guys could form. You know, we get all the Starship Troopers. They could be on their own little chopping mall. Anyway. All right. 3. Do we have a third?
Dizzy Flores, join the group.
Hey. Okay. Well, this is where we've kind of been stuck. Do we have a 4th Starship Trooper, Kendra?
No, we don't.
Okay, well,
no
we're stuck at 3
Starship
again.
Troopers. It's 3 out of 5 Starship Troopers today. I almost gave it a 2 because, like I said, the character development was so low, but it was that head explosion and the robots that really pushed it up. Like, it was a slasher film with robots, and you just don't see that as much as you could have. So points for that.
Yeah, well, 3 Starship Troopers, not bad. You know, eventually we're going to have to review Starship Troopers, too. But,
I would love that.
Send your requests in the Kendra via Facebook. You can always write the show. You can write something. Is there a spot for them to contact us on our website if they want to?
Yes.
Okay. You probably know us. So get in touch with us that way. And so you go. There you have it. Shopping Mall. Was it worth your time? Would you say go watch it? Would you say a 3 Starship Troopers is like a go watch?
I would, yes. I mean, I would say it's not like a high priority go watch. This one is not for the kids, obviously, with too much nudity.
Because the tits.
It's got a lot of explicit content in it.
Right. There you go.
But
sorry.
but
Sorry
yeah.
if I'm sorry for people if you don't enjoy swearing and stuff like that. I don't mean to turn you off. But there you go. It's a fact of life. Welcome to the show. Wow, Kendra, it's time to go to Elon, but right now, a little palate cleanser. This song is meme-tastic. Came out 4 years ago, I think 2014 or something like that. It's from Russia, and it's called the Chum Dum Bedrum. Maybe you've heard it. We'll play a little bit here. Hopefully, we won't get copy striked. Now, I'm going to play the chorus. And that's all it is. That's the chorus right there. I'll play the second half of the chorus right now. You have to space it out so you don't get fined by all the monetized.
Well, I mean, it's more than we also have to have some commentary. It's not just about the song. So, how often do you think you've had songs with some kind of in it?
Not much.
I mean, there's been a recent one, hasn't there? There's been a recent song in America even that had that.
What is it?
Don't you remember? I don't remember.
No,
which
I
it
don't.
was.
You're bringing it up.
You always used to sing it when we were on the radio. It would come on and it'd be like la 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 la.
I don't know.
You don't remember?
No,
You don't
you're
remember
the
the
one who
song.
remembers it. I don't remember anything. No.
Well.
You're going to have to look it up. We'll save it for a later day. If you remember it, bring it to the show. We'll compare and contrast. But that, speaking of weird space guys, brings us on the daily Elon Musk, or the weekly Elon Musk, catching up with Elon. This time in the world of AI. Now, he's already warned us about artificial intelligence, has he not? Said it's very dangerous and we need to have more regulations on artificial intelligence. So here he is saying that this text generator that they have, it's AI, is too dangerous to release. Now, break it down a little bit. What they did is they took this AI and they gave it some building blocks so it could learn by itself. What they did is they used 40 gigabytes of data pulled from 8 million web pages to train this. And all the web pages were from Reddit. Anything with 3 upvotes or more. If you don't know what Reddit is, check it out, reddit.com. It's fun. So they trolled through Reddit, select the links and articles with more than 3 upvotes, and the AI can write some crazy things here. I had a lot more in here. Let's go to what the AI can write. This is an example of what the software produced. In a shocking finding, scientists discovered a herd of unicorns living in a remote, previously unexplored valley in the Andes Mountains. Even more surprising to the researchers was the fact that unicorns spoke perfect English. So it's kind of fake newsing it, right?
Well, that's the 2 sentences they gave to them, right?
Yeah, and it does more.
Well, that was the writing prompt.
Right. Thank you. Based on those 2 sentences, it was able to continue writing this whimsical news story another 9 paragraphs. So they gave it those, and then it wrote 9 paragraphs, right?
Yeah.
It goes on. I misspoke. So I said it produced those, but they gave it those. And then they said the scientists named the population after their distinctive horn, Orvid's unicorn. These 4-horned silver-white unicorns were previously unknown to science. This is what the AI is writing. Now, after almost 2 centuries, the mystery of what sparked this odd phenomenon is finally solved. Dr. George Perez, this is the AI continuing writing, an evolutionary biologist from the University of La Paz, and several companions were exploring the Andes Mountains when they found a small valley with no other animals or humans. Perez noticed that the valley had what appeared to be a natural fountain surrounded by 2 peaks and a rock of rock and silver snow. 2 peaks of rock and silver snow. So that's what the AI produced. It's pretty scary that they're doing this. And he pulled the plug on it. They gave it to scientists, this AI, but they actually cut what it can do in half because they took it back from like 40 gigabytes of data to like 20 gigabytes of data, right? But it's something to watch because as we get into our theme of shoot the messenger, and the messenger isn't always right, and the fake news, and people owning media companies and swaying the media, who knows what's right? But it kind of makes sense, right? AI can start messing with us in ways we didn't even imagine. Well,
and it really does. They talk a little bit about the fact that it could be for plagiarism purposes. It could be dangerous. You know, you brought up the fake news idea and the fact that it could be used to produce fake news stories and mislead people into believing things that aren't true. I mean, you know, of course, the unicorns are a little bit outlandish, but the way that AI wrote the story, it really goes on to give specific details and it's kind of writes this full on expose. The
thing about it is it can change its tone too. So they gave it George Orwell's 1984 and it can write in that style. So it can change how it writes based on what it's given.
Well, and I was surprised because all they gave it was that first line from 1984, which is, if you know the line, is very
It was
general.
a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13.
And that was all the AI needed to know that it was a dystopian novel. It went on to write its own dystopian novel.
Wow. I like that. Writing prompts, LOL. You could get a lot of essays done in college with that. But it's probably pretty dangerous as well, right?
Well, and this makes me think, like, I order content from writers all the time on the internet, right? You know, but it's actual people writing these articles. It's people that care about the topic and stuff like that. So this basically says that AI has the possibility of putting journalists completely out of work, because what would be the point in a human writing it if an AI can write it exactly the same?
Support the humans. Go to our Patreon. $5 is all we ask. We'll get you a coffee mug or something as soon as we put together the plan. Elon Musk also revealing this week in Elon future plans for return tickets to Mars. $500,000, I guess, is going to be the return ticket, the day cost to get to Mars. $500,000. One day costs $500,000 for a return ticket, possibly dropping further to $100,000, right? Very dependent on volume, Elon says. SpaceX is planning to, land on the moon. NASA's planning to land on the moon and eventually get to Mars. So
he's saying the trip to Mars is free, but you have to pay for the trip back?
I think the trip back is free. Getting to Mars, he said the return trip is free. $500,000 to go to Mars. I think that's what he said. The return trip is free.
Okay.
I do believe this is what it is. But although this does say will one day cost $500,000 for a return ticket, right? He's confident moving to Mars will one day cost. So I don't know, possibly dropping below $100,000. That's what came out today. I'm excited about space. Maybe a little too excited. I should have read that one through a little bit better. And finally, with this week in Elon Musk, we get a lot of topics, people, and full-time jobs. Sentry mode and dog mode are rolled out for Tesla owners. Dog mode. Can you explain dog mode for the people, Kendra?
That is basically the ability to keep the interior of the car more comfortable for your little pooches.
There you go. And Sentry mode, of course, people breaking into cars, so it can have cameras and film people and kind of guard. But with the dog mode is great, man. But I would worry about people walking by thinking your dog isn't safe. Mm-hmm. Some people have requested that Elon put something up on their middle console monitor saying this dog isn't in a safe environment or keeping climate control cooled. I mean, obviously, keeping your dog in your car is never a great thing to do anyway. But if you can keep the temperature and not have to keep the car running and be able to keep your dog cool, that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. It's one for the pooches.
Exactly.
You like that?
And they do say, like, they intend to include that kind of a screen on your computer of, like, this dog is safe.
Yeah.
When it rolls out, they keep saying it's going to roll out this week, but
it's
that was
supposed to be
last
out,
week.
Right? Yeah, that was like 7 days ago.
But there's no confirmation that it's actually been released with this newest update. There has been a new software update this week, but all that it did, as far as I can tell, is it allowed you to save locations on your car, so that way it automatically moves the mirrors in and out when you reach a saved location. And then there was one other update as well, but the mirror one was the most fascinating.
You like
to me.
dogs?
Yes.
Dogs?
Dogs.
You like dogs? You like dogs? Well, great. Since we're on the topic of pooches, we're going to switch gears here out of Elon into the world of pooches. Quick palate cleanse. Look at these dogs. Synchronized. Boom. Boom. You like that? I just thought this was great. I got a couple dog clips for a palate cleanse. We got two bulldogs on screen, and they're both barking at each other. And every time one barks, they bark at the same time and twitch at the same time. It's like synchronized dog moving.
It's like they're a mirror is between them, but they're different dogs. Like they're completely different colored dogs.
It
and
looks
everything.
like a pug and a pit bull or something like that. I don't know. A little bulldog. That's the first clip. Now I got another clip before we get into the real world of dogs. Dogs being bros right here. If you love animals, this is a cool part of the show right here. So we have two dogs. We have I don't know, we have a bulldog with a white spot, and we have some sort of
a douche dog.
Anyway, one has a treat and he drops it on the ground and he's looking at it, and the other dog is looking at the other dog, and the treat's on the ground, and he drops it for the other dog. It looks like an insect, actually. Anyway, the dog doesn't know he can have it, and the other dog takes his little paw and pushes his head down to it, saying, "Hey, man, you can go ahead and have this treat." And that's dogs being bros right there. Speaking of dogs, it was a big week for dogs. The Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, live on TV from Fox Sports, as we go to the crowning of the champion. Let's go live to it. Here we go.
You know, I love you all. Every one of you.
Every one of you. Great.
He's best in show.
Best in show. He
Wire
points
Fox Terrier.
the bony finger, and there you have the Wire Fox Terrier. His name is King, the Wire Fox Terrier,
Endorsement
crowned
from
best
our
in show.
country's
And
greatest
King has
terrier, man.
quite an event lined up for him. As you can see, the other dogs here. He actually, King gets to be on Broadway now. He's going to be joining the cast of Pretty Woman as a walk-on, so he's going to be in that. He's going all around town getting photo shoots everywhere. But a lot of people not happy with this. The Wire Fox Terrier has won Best in Show 13 times. This type of breed, they're kind of considered the New England Patriots of the dog world. This breed, this particular breed. I mean,
Okay.
it is perfect. You see, he's got the pointed tail. And I went back and did some research, and I saw his early competitions where he was up against other Wire Fox Terriers. Not in the Westminster show, but the other one. And his tail is magnificent. You see the other ones, and they bend and they kind of break. His is fantastic, and he's really hitting his stride, King is. But you know who's not happy?
Who?
The internet's not happy.
Of course
The
not.
internet's not happy. Let me show you some comments here. I flash froze a news article here. As we can read right here, looking at the hashtag, I think everyone thinks the Dachshund was robbed. Look at, they're not even, this one above, they're not even my breed until I could see what was best dog out there tonight. Unreal. They should have said the Dachshund won. I'm like, well, I got to see the Dachshund, right?
Mhm.
They thought there were boos in the crowd. You could hear them. And when it's a dog show, you don't want people to be booed, right?
No, of course not.
All right, Gordon did a little research. You want to see that Dachshund everybody's talking about? You want to see the long-haired Dachshund? Are we ready? Okay, so this is the long-haired Dachshund. We got the,
Kudos to those
I've been
dogs.
saving this all day. Check out that stride. That's the cute Dachshund everybody was loving. Now, it's got long hair. It's low to the ground. It's a wiener dog, if you don't know, and it looks pretty good. You know, it's hard for me to compare. I don't know. They say that was going to be the best in show, but it won the Hound group, as is. And, you know, it looks like a beautiful dog.
That is a magnificent mane.
Well, they're all beautiful, really. I mean, I can hardly tell the difference. But anyway, people were kind of upset about that, and I thought I'd share the Westminster Dog Show. Did I leave any details out, Kendra?
I think you got it.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Okay, good. All right. Next topic. What do we got here? The dog days of winter. Barstool Pizza. Do you have the outline in front of you?
Nope, my computer kept glitching. So
Oh,
I've got
no.
Reddit. Reddit is my next thing.
Okay, all right. So let me figure out what's next. We had Elon, the dog show. He's going to be on Pretty Woman. One bite pizza review. Everybody knows the rules. Have you seen this guy?
Of course.
Everybody
He's internet
knows.
famous.
People, have you seen the Everybody Knows the Rules? Davey Page Views. Have you seen this? It's great, and I love his pizza reviews. Okay, he goes into a shop, right? I got a commercial, got some ads playing. He goes into a pizza shop. He comes out with the pizza, discusses it. It kind of feels like he's a pizza connoisseur. He's from Barstool Sports, which is a sports program, and he kind of branched out. And the one bite pizza review is great, even though he doesn't take one bite, and that's kind of like the thing. But his name is Davey Page Views, or some people like to call him the Prez. And here's the thing about the Prez right here, and I just can't get over it. I respect the Prez. I really like his attitude. I like his go get 'em, no bull. I kind of feel like I got a little bit of that in me. You know, it's like I think a lot of guys feel like they have that machismo. He's pretty macho. But it doesn't get more girly than this, because I think my mom owns the same jacket as this guy. Watch this dude walk out of this Salvo's pizza bar here, and the comments just ripped him up over this jacket. Look at his freaking jacket, dude. Oh my gosh. The woman's wearing the same jacket as he is. I mean, what do you think? As a girl, I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything. I'm just trying to say, what do you think about that jacket?
Ain't no shame in being warm. You do you, boo. You be warm. I don't even
East
care.
78th and York Ave.
I'm just saying, you can't be
bar?
macho
I don't know if we should have gone slices.
in that
yet.
freaking jacket.
Hey, macho-ness is not giving a...
You know, you just...
True macho-ness is being comfortable in yourself.
They have an app now. Anyway, everybody wants them to review Chuck E. Cheese pizza, which they say they just kind of pieced together and read. No, what you got? You guys said that.
Shane Dawson just
Yeah.
did a giant expose. I mean, I wouldn't call it an expose, but Chuck E. Cheese had to release a statement going like, "No, we make our pizza fresh every day. That's
Did
why
they-
it's
did they release a
misshapen."
statement? Yeah.
They did, because he made a pretty convincing argument that all the employees do is just like take unused pizza and they just kind of like piece it together.
Yeah.
They put some cheese on top, and then they reserve it to people.
Yeah.
All rumors. No, I don't want to get sued either.
Yeah.
So this is according to Shane Dawson and all
Davey
rumor.
Page Views. The name is so freaking. Come on.
It's gimmicky.
You know, AJ Gimme Likes is going to be my last name. Like, what the fuck? Sorry. It's just AJ Gimme Likes.
I love it.
Page Views. What the? Anyway. So I just would expect certain things to be in line with the type of persona that he is, and the jacket doesn't fall in line. I love the jacket. I love the comments. If you want to go check it out for yourself, you can read the comments on that. We'll leave a link in the description below, as we'll try to start linking everything that we bring up in the show for you to click on the YouTube page.
I love it.
Okay, you love it. It's more work for us.
Yep, that's okay.
Good.
But you did say that he has a radio show, right? Like that's how he.
Yeah, Barstool Sports. It's a YouTube channel. It's its own kind of like people have gone away from the typical Sports Center and ESPN, and they've gone more towards Barstool Sports. A lot more popular.
Yeah, and that kind of explains that kind of gimmicky name and how like it just kind of goes in the spirit of the way radio DJs kind of did the ridiculous names for a long time.
Yeah, the radio DJs. Don't even get me started. Okay, This Week in Reddit. This Week in Reddit, because I read it on Reddit, people, and I love this question, and I love these answers. It gets the brain to thinking. My brother told me this is his favorite segment, so maybe it'll be your favorite segment, people listening. You hear me? What everyday household items are actually way more dangerous than we give them credit for? I love this question. This was an Ask Reddit. And we'll go through some of the answers here. I'm sure, Kendra, you have some of your favorites. Top answer, number one answer with 4,900 points, wet tile floors. Lots of people die, they said. Wet tile floors. You ever slip on a wet tile floor?
Never all the way down. I mean,
you didn't work in a restaurant then.
No.
Oh, my.
Like not.
That's
no.
all they have is tile. You got to get the non-slip shoes, and even then, sometimes you're sliding around.
No. that sounds
No.
unpleasant.
I worked at a restaurant recently where they were like, "No, I don't got to get non-slips." I'm like, "Get your non-slip shoes because this is." They're like, "Can we just wear Crocs?" I'm like, "What are you kidding me? You're gonna slip and die." So what do you think about that? Wet tile floors?
I mean, yeah, that could be very dangerous. Any fall is always dangerous. You know, I see my top comment as like throw rugs in senior homes, another trip and fall hazard, right? And they talk
Throw
about
rugs in senior homes.
yes.
Sure.
So if you're older, get rid of your senior. And in my own personal life, in my family, I have multiple family members who keep using chairs to like get up to high things, and then they'll fall off the chair. Don't use get a step stool out. Do not use a chair. It is not meant, says the person that used a chair earlier, to move something.
Yeah, I know, right?
But step stools are really safer than chairs to be moving things up.
This person says garage doors. Let the professionals fix it if it breaks. They say these springs carry a lot of weight. It's perfectly capable of sending you to the hospital if you're doing DIY repairs. I didn't know the springs on a garage door do that much. And if you work at a German spring factory or something, maybe you're an expert on this kind of stuff. Dangerous. They could rip right through cylinder blocks. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, one of the personal stories on that thread, I don't have it in front of me, but it sounded pretty graphic with the
degloving, they called it. It'll deglove you, which is you can imagine what that is. Deglove. It's not, you ain't wearing winter gloves when you get degloves. They say don't fuck with the torsion springs. I'm quoting, don't fuck with the torsion springs. There's enough potential energy in there to rip your arm out of the socket in a blink of an eye. The guy says his dad was totally degloved. Anyway, bleach. We're talking about what everyday household items are actually way more dangerous than we give them credit for. Bleach, because it's poisonous. And they say it can blind you if it gets in your eyes, and it makes a lot of smoke if mixed with brake fluid.
I mean, nobody's gonna be theoretically mixing their brake fluid with bleach.
You might.
Well, but
you might.
Why?
If you want to make smoke. If you want to make smoke, that's why you need to make smoke.
Well, the more dangerous mixture is really bleach and ammonia, which I understand creates a hazardous gas.
I did see that on this list. That's a good one, Kendra.
So really, bleach is something that people have in their house that just
it's right here. This guy says and/or ammonia. He says his wife almost mustard gassed us one time trying to be extra clean. According to the gnawing voice in the back of my head, this person says the most dangerous thing is the garbage disposal, which calls me like a siren to shove my grubby little fingers into it every time I turn it on. But I resist the allure. Now, you want to talk about that. There's something in our brain that does that when we come across dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it's completely natural for us to have these thoughts of what if, it's really we have to overcome those thoughts. It's completely normal to go, oh, well, and play out that scenario. But really, it's your body sending you warning signals to not do that.
Yeah, somebody talked about boiling water as well. Like, what if I just shove my hand in there? It's weird, man, but I don't have those thoughts really. I was just like, nope, don't even want to go near it. I'm like, right now our garbage disposal is making a little bit of noise. There might be something in there. I'm not doing it. I'm not reaching my hand in there. Final destination, what? Hi, guys. Serious answer. He says refrigerators. I think they crush a bunch of people every year when someone tries to move them unassisted, right? That vending machines get knocked over to kill people, right? They fall on people.
Space heaters, people, it's not uncommon, especially in the northern areas where people will have too many things plugged into their space heaters plugged in, or they keep it on for too long, and it's a fire hazard.
It is. Everyday household items actually way more dangerous than we give them credit for. People sometimes think they're you knock a space heater over now, it shuts off, right? They have safety features on a lot of them. Dull knives. What about that? Nothing worse than a dull knife. I mean, it's sharp for a while, and all of a sudden it's dull, and you try to use it, and it's bad.
Yeah, they say a sharp knife is a safe knife because it takes less pressure. You're way less likely to slip and cut yourself.
Yeah, because you have to use more force, right?
Mm-hmm. So get a knife sharpener if you don't already have one.
Mm-hmm.
Us included.
This guy says, I used to teach twice yearly knife safety for a course for Cub Scouts, and the number of parents that tried to argue about this was mind-blowingly high. They have a dull knife. No, sharp knives are better. Garage door springs, coiled off death machines, just waiting for their moment. Another person writes. So garage door springs, really dangerous, I guess.
Yeah.
The consent is out. I have a 1950s historical home with original solid 900-pound garage door. If I change the garage too much, I lose the historic status. So he has to keep the door. And he says the scariest part of the day is parking or leaving his garage. The springs in that sucker are big and mean.
Ooh.
Big mean.
Another person said, I almost died from walking barefoot on the yard that had ant killer pellets spread on it, and it was wet. Apparently their nervous systems start to shut down and they collapsed.
Wow.
So be very careful with any type of killer or pesticide. This guy specifically said, thank God it was me and not one of my daughters.
Yeah, I think the Monsanto Corporation the Roundup, a lot of people are finding out that Roundup is really, really dangerous and it causes cancer. I think that's probably my dog that we had to put down had mouth cancer. He used to eat the grass around the house. Mm-hmm. And we're thinking it's because we use Roundup on the weeds around. And, it's pretty sad. But to think that weed killer, obviously it's a toxin, but you don't know how toxin things are, if they're safe to be around. So Roundup, it's gone.
Yeah.
Don't use Roundup anymore, people. Any corner. They say the corner of the table, just have some weeds, man. It's the 2020s, man. Yeah, it's natural. Any corner of your house, the corner of the table, the corner of the cabinet door, never leave those doors open. Take one wrong step to lose an eye or a bad fall. That's why he lives in a corner-free house. That's a bit extreme, don't you think?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you can child-proof your house, and I've seen the extreme child-proof where all the corners have little buffers.
I got
a
scar from a corner. This scar right here. It's kind of weird in my old age. It's just becoming a wrinkle in my head, but that's from I hit the corner of a vacuum.
A vacuum?
When I was 5, yeah. I tripped over the hose and right on the corner of the vacuum, like the vacuum was just on the ground, and I hit it and I got 5 stitches, and just like Harry Potter, forever remembered. So the corners, yeah, it got me. Corners got me. This person says hairspray, any spray that can be used as an impromptu flamethrower in general. Just like the movie Critters that we reviewed, they did that, right? You use the aerosol, you got the lighter, and of course that it's kind of dangerous. Is it that? I mean, is it something way more dangerous than you give it credit for? Maybe not. Mm-hmm. What about the stairs?
Oh,
boom, stairs. People fall up or down them a lot. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I carpeted stairs a little easier.
Well, and again, it's coming back to the fall. It's the fall that causes permanent, irreparable damage. And so be careful around stairs, especially if you've had some kind of a neck injury or other emergency. If you're around stairs, always be very careful. Another one that I saw was the lint in the dryer.
Yeah.
Always change out your lint filter between every dry cycle, always, because that stuff can catch on fire. Highly flammable.
This person says if you camp a lot, save the dryer lint because it's a great fire starter for your campfire. What? I guess
I mean,
so.
it is I'm sure it's a great fire starter, but I don't know if you should just keep it for that purpose.
Apparently ladders are surprisingly dangerous. This person's writes, you think it would be easy to avoid falling off one, but I've heard it happening more than expected. You also really don't need to be that high to fall and badly injure yourself. It just takes the wrong fall. You try to catch yourself, you break an arm. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, and that's also why I also say it's safer to use stairs, you know, a ladder than a chair as well, because a chair is not meant to be climbed on. Ladders at least are.
This person writes toothpicks, if they break off in your mouth, they can cause infection. So make sure you don't break them off in your mouth. And that's this week's Axe Reddit. Maybe we just call that Axe Reddit. What everyday household items are actually way more dangerous than we give them credit for. You probably had some ideas for yourself, home listener. And that brings us to our final, the water spike, right? Is that where we're at?
We are.
The last topic of the day, everybody. This is great. I found this on the web. These guys, brand new channel. They're only 4 episodes in. And you've seen these slow-mo guys, right? The slow-mo explosions. This has to be the coolest slow-mo that I've ever seen in my life.
I'm ready for it.
How you like me now?
I want to see it.
Now, before I talk about this, they're in a pool of water. The pool is 90 feet long. They have 168 wave paddles that can create different waves for research purposes. This is I think it's in England or something like that. Anyway, the paddles can move and they can create different kinds of waves, right? For research purposes. Let's get through this commercial here. Now, if you move them all at the same time, you can create what is called a wave spike. And the wave spike shoots 90 feet in the air out of basically nothing, which is really, really great. These guys capture it in super slow-mo. And like I said, we'll put the link in the description below. But you can see these wave paddles here. Let's show you a little bit. And it can create all these different waves.
Neat.
Yeah, and it looks like kind of mesmerizing because, you know, water moving together.
Waves are always random, and these are not random. They look synchronized.
They're very, very controlled. So if they move them all at the same time, let me get to the water spike. Here we go. It looks like so. It's so weird looking. But the water spike, and it just keeps going, right? It keeps going up, 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 all the way up. See that water spike? 90 feet in the air. It looks so massive. We'll put a link in the description for all you home listeners on the iTunes or whatever. You can come check this out. But check them out. It's kind of a brand new channel. I thought it was great. And they film it in super slow motion. You catch the gist of this kind of spike. It looks like a giant spike of glass. They throw ducks in there to kind of like watch and see what the ducks do when they hit the wave spike. And finally, for the most refreshing part, they actually put the guy's face over the wave spike, and he gets freaking nailed with it. It is so great. Let me try to get it. You can see it right here. Okay. He says it's hard. Let's get a little sound. Ooh. You see the wave form? Look how that thing forms. Boom! Right in the Kazicht for the German speaker.
Right in the nose. Look
and he said all the water went right up his nose. Super cool slow-mo, these guys. They're the first people ever to actually be in the water here at this pool, right? So no one's ever been able to be in it. They do it twice, and they actually have a second angle that looks crazy. They put the camera behind the guy's head. I'll show this for the last bit. And the water warps, and here it comes. Skadoosh, a 90-foot wave spike to the face, but probably one of the more refreshing things. You're going to see this on a Dove commercial pretty soon.
The way that it looks to me is, you know how in sci-fi sometimes when they're going through like a wormhole and you see space kind of bend and ebb right before they like travel through the wormhole? That's the way it kind of looked as the guy's face, you know, you see the water kind of go down and up.
There's definitely, they put a grid on the ground, which makes it look, which allows you to see how much it's bending. So there's a straight grid on the ground. Boom, man, that's just a lot of water to the face. How more refreshing can you get? And speaking of refreshing, we'll be back next week. The reason why we're doing a Friday night show and airing this on Saturday is because I got special Saturday rehearsals. We had a lot of kids, a lot of schools around the area get canceled. So anybody who's got these fall shows, they've been missing out on rehearsals. So we're trying to make up with like a 5-hour rehearsal, which is going to happen. So that's refreshing too. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled time maybe in 2 weeks. I get another Saturday the week after too.
Well, yeah. So we'll be back next Friday as well. It
Next
sounds
Friday as well, probably around 9 o'clock. It's kind of cool to do this at night because you can see it's like our lights show up a little better.
They do.
You know, your coffee. And speaking of, before we go, the tea. The tea.
Positive energy today.
Is that what we're going with today?
This is what we had. We had a positive energy.
Okay, brought to you by Yogi Tea. Positive. I feel pretty positive.
Not sponsored, but yes.
Yeah, you know, and if you want to sponsor us, send us some drinks. That's fine. We'll drink them and sponsor you here.
Absolutely.
On
We'll
the
shout you
show.
out.
Special thanks to Third Coast Gypsy Jazz for doing our awesome theme music or allowing me to use it in that way. So we thank them. Any other thank yous today, Kendra?
Well, thank you to everybody who provided us clips and all the creators that we referenced in today's video. Also, you can check us out on our own website at shootthemessenger.net. You can also support us at Patreon, Shoot the Messenger, and then you can download our podcast at iTunes and Spotify and watch us on YouTube.
Boom! All right, ADD's kicking in. It's time for me to go. People, thanks for joining us today. And say sayonara, Kendra.
Sayonara!
Peace. We're out.